server up. I actually forgot that this game existed and haven't played it in quite a while, so I have to try to get all the controls back under my fingers. Luckily, there's a tutorial here that's not hurting me at all. I think I've got enough hours in on this thing to where I remember how to do it. So I'm going to pull that over to system. Of course, the server name is Middle Age Chill, and the server listing. This thing does still have a server browser, so I was happy to see that that worked. Of course, as always, if you have any trouble finding the server, just pop on my Discord, which the link can be found on the channel here, and be happy to walk you through getting on the server. Yeah, I'm going to mess around with this for a couple hours tonight, so it's nice and dark and rainy. I do say this game has one of the best soundtracks. It's durable. You can listen to it forever. I love it a great deal. But yeah, it's I have to remember to go in my inventory here. Let's get that somewhere where it makes sense. I think F10. Yeah, UI. Just resized it by accident. Let's put that down there. I think the image window can come. Let's move some of this. Don't know that I've ever been in a group in this game. I like my map. Could be locked. Let's see if I can. Let's make this message screen a little wider. I guess you can't tighten it up any. Get the map right there. This message screen over here. The map is pinned. That looks good. Let's try that. Put on our clothes. And save our fish. Alright. Get out of the tab menu. There we go. So this is working okay for me. Still not 100% thrilled. Go from my spot. Let's see if I can live long enough to get over there. There's a spot I like to build. I'm going to leave this server up. I'd forgotten this game, to be honest with you, since they took the MMO down. This would be a good way to kill some time on nights that I don't feel like Exiles or Dwarf Fortress. So I do have Object Decay turned off, and I am going to password protect this thing. So again, if you want to pop on and play after I get off tonight, you just jump in the Discord, and once I invite you, you can just PM me there in the password channels, and I'll get you the password for the servers. It's a shame that this didn't make it. That's all I have to say. I feel like, number one, it's too grindy a game for a lot of folks. I actually love it quite a bit. For me, I've always thought it was great, but I do have to admit the MMO was pretty grindy. The vanilla settings, I do not have this server on the vanilla settings. I have it on whatever the default your own settings are, which are probably 10 times or so faster. Maybe not that much. Considerably faster than the MMO. I didn't touch any of those, but the MMO was painful. It was designed for like a 200 person guild, and come on, I don't think there were over 200 people, and maybe in the very early stages of that game, 200 people in. And I'm sure right now there's somebody that was a hardcore MMO player that is yelling at me if they're hearing that. But while I played it, I never saw that many people on the game. I gotta be honest. Got into it about 6 months after it launched. So, but yeah, played the heck out of this one. Ran a private server for quite some time. Probably still got that map saved somewhere. I could load it up, but onto the future with this one. I mean, it's a fun game. The PvP leaves a little to be desired, but I really do think the terraforming in this one is probably as well done as anything other than maybe Worm Online. I've not found anything else that you get the level of control that you get in this one. And I'm trying to talk while there's going to be a lot of running here early on. I apologize for kind of the slow gameplay there, but yeah. So the terraforming is great. The construction part of it is a lot of it is pre-built buildings. If you've not tried it, you don't get a lot of freedom. It's not a snap together kind of game, like say Conan Exiles or Ark or something like that. It's more of a you place a blueprint and build the pre-built building kind of game. I'm trying to think of another one that's similar to it, but right now I can't. The closest parallel on the building, honestly, that I can come up with is Mortal Online. If you've ever played that, it's kind of another niche game. The skill progression is very similar to Mortal Online. It's also similar to Ultima Online, if you ever played that, if you're old enough to have played that. Yeah, so very grindy. But the building is very fulfilling, I do have to say. And the quality system in this, if you take the time to actually work through and get the high quality stuff, is it does take some time. Okay. I've always thought graphically it's a very pleasing game. I think they may have done Forest better than almost anybody else has. The trees are very, very, very real. And the armor and weapon sets all look good. A lot of good artwork in it. It's just so mechanically grindy that I think a lot of people just have trouble getting into it. But I mean, I have played on these private servers. I've seen full 64 slot, these things full as they can be, and it's really, at this level, was really well performing. Just the MMO didn't seem to. I think they just had trouble scaling it, to be honest with you. Either way, that's my opinion of it. And once I get to my spot, I'll show you how the gameplay looks. All the way across the map. A lot of running at first. And it's early winter when you land. I think, let me look again. It is, late spring, 6 March. So if I remember right, although it's been over a year since I've played this game, the clock, the master season and date clock is set universally for all the private servers. It picks that up from their it picks that up from Bitbox somehow. I think no matter when it's not like a lot of servers where you start at some arbitrary January 1 kind of equivalent date. We're just on a schedule. I think in that respect it's a lot like Worm Online, or Worm, Unlimited, I guess, is the private server version. Which I'm also considering throwing up a Worm Unlimited server again. Ultimately, I'd like to get all of these kind of dedicated server middle-aged dedicated server games going again, and servers up for folks to play on. That's always been what I like to do. And hopefully, after tonight, as I threw this server up, I made some notes, took some screenshots and stuff. I may very well put up a quick YouTube video guide on how to set one of these things up, because there's some nuances in there that can kind of be tricky. This one, you're really close to the database. You actually have to set up the database yourself and everything. So it's not like a lot of the ones where you have some dedicated launcher tool. Unless they've built one for this that I don't know. In the past has always been, if you wanted to run one of these, you kind of had to get in there and tinker with the MySQL through hiding SQL, and then actually you got to build the database through a query that you're running it. But it's not as terrible as it sounds. The backing up of these servers too, there's no automatic backup kind of feature, so you have to do Windows batch files and automate that MySQL dump. But yeah, I'll go through all that in the video if I make it. Hopefully I'll get around to doing that, because it would have helped me as I was trying to figure out how to set this thing up the first time. Graphics feel like they're aging well. I guess this was originally came out in what, 14? 15, somewhere around there. Don't get me lying to you, I'd have to tab out and look on Steam for that. They still look nice. Way to go, yet. Then, of course, there's an alignment system. Also something I think they lifted from Ultima. No, of course, in the MMO there were some NPCs, but in this version, the only other thing on the server that moves beside you is the wildlife, which really and truly, once you get some armor and weapons, is not an extraordinary challenge. So yeah, no, it's more fun with friends. I will say that. Ended a little far south here. I'm really surprised I haven't ran into a bear yet. That's usually my luck. Upon zoning into these the first time, I take 3 steps and get mauled by a bear. Here's the big swamp. We don't want to run through that. Then I guess there's some custom maps, some kind of non-official maps that I have never tried loading up. Also, there was at one time a relatively large modding community for this game, and you know, with the collapse of the MMO, there might be, again, that's something that's worth researching. Because it's reasonable to think that a lot of the folks that were really into the MMO have went back to these private servers, because it took, I guess it was, this version of it was out for several years. I want to say 3, maybe 4 years, you know, while they were kind of early access MMO work was going on. And at one time, there was some pretty robust private servers. Some of them were very large. Of course, some turned completely around again. Follow some landmarks here. The swamp got me distracted. I went the wrong way. Getting closer and closer. I should do something about my barefoot debuff. Let's do that. Oh, they did do just so. Let's look. Did they do this thing that they did in the MMO, where they did make some changes to this thing in the last patch? So I have to look at this. I think they took away the. Yeah, they did. Only they don't glow in this version. They did on. So there's the flint. So here's what I need. Yeah. All right. So that triggered some. Gotta play the game stuff. When this originally came out, you could just sit in one place forever, indefinitely, and gather plant fiber, which personally I liked quite a bit better. But this is not an ideal place to do this. So now that we know that, grab this key. I believe that I felt like maybe I'm not high enough in nature, Lord. It's L. So let's look through this. I want some shoes. That's the goal. And in order to do that, we need not farming. We need 30 in nature's lore, and I'm currently 6, so we're going to be shoeless for a while. Yeah, let's not get going our own way again. All right, so that issue is resolved. The knowledge piece of it anyway. I now know where I should be going, and hopefully am headed to that direction. Here is a much more friendly place to materials. Let's look at this. And a good thing about this one, I would say, is, well, something handy to know. It's a good thing. Something handy to know is if you are first learning, kind of not familiar with this game, turn the grass detail down, and it will help you see these things that don't really look any different than the other. And even I might need to do that, because in the MMO version of this, and apparently that's something graphically that they did not put into this version, these had little sparkly deals on them. So you could kind of see where they were, which I always thought was, super realistic, but it did help. I'm not gonna lie. So don't complain too much. Must have been all the plant fiber. Thirty nature's lore is a pretty significant grind, so I'm just going to grab this next round of plant fiber here, and then get on up and start. Because as I'm making shovels and stuff to kind of start getting set up and gathering bark and this and that, I'll probably get more points than. That would kind of randomly get. Let me make sure I am going the right way. Oh, gracious. This is the way. Let's keep trying. do it to say the soundtrack is catchy. It's very catchy. Swamp number 2, and I've been playing too much Conan because I keep hitting the map key, even though I've got the map pinned open. That is one thing about this game that I really did always like quite a bit, is you pin the map, and it's a beautiful map. The only problem being, and I think one of the main problems that really kind of didn't help the MMO a lot, was the map in the MMO was miserably broken. But this one works perfectly. I think they just shot too big in the MMO. They tried to go too big too fast. That's my personal opinion. I think the concept was good. I think they overreached. Alright, we have arrived. This is going to be my spot. I've always wanted to actually get something built up here. It's taken 3 days of game time to work up here. Is that right? That seems wrong. I don't think it's been dark, and no, it must have been the 6th of March. For some reason, 3's in my mind, but I think it's the third month. So, let's talk about plans. My goal is to, at some point in the distant future, get myself a monument and a keep out of here. That's the plan. Now, the execution of that plan, not an easy one. Take a lot of work. So, there's no place to start but the beginning. Go down and see what we can see. The first thing you have to do in this game is know that F3 turns on observation mode, and that you need sticks. Sticks are important, which can be broken from. So there's also another thing that I think, if you've never played it before, it's important to note. The fluffier the trees, I guess, is the best description I can give you. The ones that look like they got a lot of leaves on them are the higher quality trees. You see this one's an 89 quality, and look how pretty and full it looks. So that's the one we're going to gather sticks from, even though our skill won't let us get very good sticks. And then I want to I want to gather a branch that to be infinite. There we go. Till there's no more branches to gather. Gives us some super duper cool points in nature's. And since we're not playing Dwarf Fortress, also, I think while we are, once the stick gathering spurt is over here, if everyone doesn't mind, I would take a moment to kick my display out in full screen because I think this game is better in full screen resolution. Not sure why it even defaulted to the winded. Odd that it did that. Also, why it didn't load up the highest quality of graphics. That was. Let's make that full screen. Go with that resolution for right now. Let's see what this looks like. And hopefully I don't lose my sound. I don't know what just happened. Bad things, apparently. That's not good. All right. I think we broke it, guys. So let's try a better resolution. Yo. I want to do 1920 by. Does it not have a 1920 by 1080? There it is. Oh, because that's what I monitor 4K that I'm using. The computer's putting out in 4K, but there we go. So now we have to figure out why we lost our audio. All right, so we're going to have to, sadly, I'm going to have to jump out for a second to restart. So I'll be right back, folks. Well, it appears we have now lost the whole deal here. Not sure what's going on. Gonna do some. Gonna do some plug and unplug. See how that goes. I think we're probably going to have to drop the stream. I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to get it back. So that was silly of me to do in the middle of things. Try to change the settings, but hey, what are you going to do? So my apologies and thanks for dropping in. I'm going to stop this stream and start back over in just a second when I get all my technical issues worked out. Thank you again for stopping by.